My microphone was muted, but welcome back to uh, Behind the Rose. Today we are recapping episode 14, which happened yesterday, as they always do on Sundays. For those of you that are listening to this and don't know when our shows are,
Mhm.
our sessions are every Sunday at 6:30 EST, and our recaps are every Monday. Or, at least we try to do them every Monday at 6:30 EST. But I have the
If somebody
lovely
remembers.
right. I have the lovely Light here. Even though I was just gonna say lovely and then she took a shot at me. Um but Light, our DM, how are you, Light?
I'm all right. How about you?
Doing good, doing good. Other than sleepy, you're sleepy.
I try not to say that,
Oh well,
but
it's been said.
you said it.
Just threw you under the bus. Well,
Yeah.
today we're going to be recapping episode 14, which was a fun episode. It was very interesting. Um, a lot of, I would say, character stuff happened, but also, just eventful stuff happened.
Mhm, mhm.
So let's just get right into it, right? Um,
Yes.
we started the episode pretty much by where we ended off last time, which was about to get on the ship.
Mhm.
And so we're all kind of excited to get going. We're excited to leave this island, even though it was kind of a nice break. But um, there's one more mission, one more task to complete our, I don't know, assignment, contract. What do you want to call it?
It's um I would say it's like a contract because you guys were hired on
Right, agreement.
to do it. Mhm.
And so yeah, it's our last thing before we get to go home. And I think a lot of people are excited. Well, we'll use home under quotations because I think Magpie and Brick are the only people that are from Phelan.
Mhm.
But we get to go back, which is the first step to the next, you know, chapter in our adventure, I guess. But we have to complete this mission first. And
Exactly.
before we do, though, it takes a couple of days of travel,
Mhm.
and no day is uneventful on the ship. Like, there's never nothing that happens. Um, as we know from the previous episode, and if you haven't watched that, obviously, like these recaps are spoilery as hell, but go back to the previous episode because a lot of things happened with some of the characters that now are resulting in a bit of drama. Um, and not necessarily like drama, just tension. But yeah, how do you think everything's going right now?
I think just dandy.
Just dandy.
I mean, yeah, there's some tension, definitely between Celeste and Victor, um, because of what happened. At the moment, she still doesn't want to talk to him. Um,
Hmm.
I know that Euphemia and Victor they do talk, um, but I also feel like not necessarily like fear, but there's something. Well, there's something there. um, and I don't know. Everybody else is also in between that too.
I'm really I'm really curious about Euphemia and Victor, and not just for the whole shipping thing, because right now it's become like a ship, like a teasing thing where everybody's shipping everybody.
Yes.
And by that I mean like we're shipping them, they're shipping us.
Yeah. They're shipping that the character Celeste and Brick.
Yeah, and the the tieflings are like, what? What is happening?
Yeah. Mhm.
But do you think that, and this is obviously above the table, do you think that Victor is is doing this out of self-interest? Or do you think he genuinely cares about Euphemia?
That is very interesting. That is a definitely interesting question. Now we all know, books, movies, TV shows, all that stuff. There's always some kind of uh, romance or a draw or something where two characters you would think that should not belong together or do belong together, or maybe they, you know, shouldn't, whatever. Because she's a noble in her family line, and she is a monster hunter, while Victor is a Dhampir, and his parents is vampires. I
Yeah,
mean,
quote
you know,
unquote, vampires are monsters.
yes. And and the one thing is her monster hunter thing, I would say it's like close to almost like um The Witcher, kind of, if they're intelligent, yada yada, they will, look into it, whatever.
Mhm.
But the one thing is, what she said is that she's curious. Curiosity. And so that's another thing. Is she curious? How do I say this? Is she curious to find out um what dumb beers are? Is she doing it for her benefit, or she
Yeah,
actually is falling? Are they actually falling for each other, or are they using each other?
I so I think it's too soon to say that they're falling for each other, but I
Mhm,
think that there's a lot of similarities in their lifestyles. And, you know, I know that people say opposites attract, but
mhm,
most of the time, you have to have something in common with somebody to find them attractive, or to, to be attracted, or want something with that person. And I don't think either or right now are going into their friendship or this relationship with the thought of it being more than what it is. But I do think that those similarities and those lifestyles kind of make it so that they understand each other more than the rest of us.
mhm,
Therefore, it means they're comfortable around each other. It means that they are are more willing to, talk to each other, more willing to find, an understanding of each other. And I think that that could lead to like a romantic attraction. But
mhm.
it, they're also the two type of characters that I could easily feel like they'd be using each other.
Yeah.
Like I could easily see that happening. And it's like it's so interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
Like for example, then so you have Celestia and Born, right?
Mhm,
Which on the other side of the coin, they're like shipping them, or they think that there's something going on between them. But when you look at Celestia and Vorn's friendship, it's so innocent that most of the time they're like the last person to think something, like the last people to think that something's happening. um
yeah, yes.
I think Celestia has caught herself blushing a couple of times. um but I don't think anything has ever happened towards like a romance. um
Mm-mm,
I think their friendship is very different than the relationship that Victor and Euphemia have, because their friendship seems beneficial in one way or another. Brick and Celeste, there's just like it doesn't feel like benefit. It just feels like they can talk to each other. They can get along, and obviously they're both tieflings, so they feel like they can relate. And that's the one
mhm.
thing that they have in common with them, right? Like they relate for one thing, and we relate for another. but it's
Yes.
way different relationships.
It is.
But I think it's kind of cool. Um, so speaking of Celeste, we said she's very upset with Victor due to the things that he did.
Mhm,
He
mhm,
attacked her, even if he didn't want to attack her. Um, or he made a choice to do so because he thought it was the best alternative. Um, and that's not going to be forgiven anytime soon or forgotten.
mhm,
Um, I think Brick tried his best to get her to see a different perspective, as in he he didn't mean to, and he's also a victim, and he's probably struggling with this himself. But I know, like, out of character, I know that that's not enough. Like, she's not going to be like, "You're right, all is forgiven." That's like and he didn't even um intend for that, you know? Like it
mhm.
that's not enough. That's not a solution. You can't put a band-aid on it. But he wanted her to at least have that other perspective, that other thought. And so how do you think that conversation went? Without spoiling anything.
No, yeah. No, I think it went well. Even though it's like, know, him saying that Victor definitely probably feels bad, but at the same time, how much can he feel bad if he did it anyways?
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things. That's what she kept saying. Her thing is like, since she's been on her own, she has been in predicaments. Like, she's gone in fights, been shoved, been pushed, but nothing ever like this ever happened to her. And it's more of feeling betrayed because that's a friend versus if she met a vampire on the street, you know? And
Hmm.
that's where her mindset is being betrayed.
Yeah,
And,
like you've been fending for yourself this whole time, and you were never at more risk than you were with friends. Like that's wild.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. So it's just one of those things to I mean, she already felt hurt when she was dying, you know, and then we're going back like 3 or 4 episodes ago, um, when she was getting, basically choked to death.
Hmm.
And, that still lingers there too. And then on top of, you know, Victor attacking her, it's just one of those things. It's like, do I leave? You know, how much, how many more times do I have to get hurt or anybody else? Because I mean, Euphemia, Euphemia, she saw, and it's like that thought process, like, what should I do? What should I cast? What should I? And then mere seconds, and then all of a sudden she's being bitten. So
Hmm.
it's yeah,
Yeah, it's very
it's
crazy.
it's very hard. Mhm.
And yeah, it's kind of interesting to see how Sin is playing Victor throughout this, because it's obvious that he doesn't want to escalate things as in make things worse. Um, but there's not really a whole lot that he can do right now anyway. Um, if he tries to be too aggressive to mend things, then it'll probably just bite him in the ass. Um, so I think he needs to give her the time that she needs, and you know, try not to make it worse, at least for one.
Yeah.
Um, but I do like that he's making an effort. It's just I think Victor also has to learn that not everything is going to go his way, and he's been learning that since the beginning of the campaign.
Mhm.
Um, but you can't throw money at everything. You can't throw your title at everything, or your entitlement. Some things
Mhm.
just need work, and I like that. That's kind of a theme in his story so far.
Mhm.
But yeah, so after Brick and Celeste have a nice talk, they go back to dinner. Because well, it was more like she wanted him to eat something because he hadn't eaten. So they go back. There's a chat where we discuss a couple of things in regards to what our future plan might be. Celeste has drawn up a map. She kind of gave us, I guess, what would be options, you know, to take depending on what happens when we reach Phalu.
Mhm.
And do you wanna go over some of those?
Yeah, so basically she drew a map, of basically, like, where Fei Lu is and where Abel is. And they're on total opposite each other. Um, and so if you basically look at the map, Fei Lu's on the west and then Abel's on the east or southern east. Um, and the ship currently, they are heading, um, like, southwest. So definitely away from Feilu. So when they would come back, they will come back that way. So basically, the options are return to Feilu and see if the portals are working. If they don't work, ask the captain, hey, can we, go around the whole entire thing? Or basically go on foot from Feilu to Able. Um, Ship part be much quicker because it's a magical ship versus on foot. That could take months versus that. Um, and so whenever they go to Able, um, they would hit south, which she didn't draw that part of the map, but she just wanted to give them the idea. It's like, okay, this is what it looks like, kind of thing.
Yeah. And I think what we're hoping for is for portals to be operational and open when we get back to Phalu.
Mhm.
But we don't know if that's going to be a thing.
Exactly.
So it's good to have backup plans. It's good to have other ideas and also mentally prepare. Like, this is not going to be that easy, probably. But yeah, if portals were running, then it would make the trip a lot quicker. Um,
Yes.
so the whole time Victor wasn't in the room because he decided to step out to give Celeste some space, um, which was nice. But I think it's also about you know about him. I think it's a bit of a pride thing as well. Um, Kind of like have you ever heard or had that thought? It's like, well, I don't want to be where I'm not wanted. Um,
Mhm.
and that's kind of like a pride thing. So, but it's a bit of both. I know he's doing it for her, but he's also doing it for himself. And his his book kind of, it was interesting the way that that this book is interacting with Victor. I love their interactions because this book sometimes doesn't feel like it's on his side at all. But like she is, but she's so
Mhm.
neutral in the sense of she'll call out his bullshit or
Mhm.
she'll tell him what she needs to tell him, and she's not going to sugarcoat it. And I think that that's such an interesting dynamic for Victor to have because I'm pretty sure he never had someone like that in his life.
I think, yeah, it's funny because it's like if you think about like, he had his parents, right? And his parents can only tell him or show him certain things, and they can say, "Okay, don't do this, don't do that," and this is fine, but at the same time, he is technically not a full vampire, so he's not he doesn't know, in my opinion, doesn't know what the rights or wrongs of doing stuff. Like,
Hmm.
yes, he's probably told, like, "If you feed, you must be sneaky about it," right? But there's times out there vampires can give in to the bloodlust, and, you hear those stories, like, all of a sudden, a small village has been wiped out. By what, you know?
Yeah, especially
It could have been a vampire, so
when they feel like an enhancement of abilities, like what he felt.
Mhm,
Um, you can get not just like bloodlust, but power hungry,
mhm,
and it's all the combination that could be super deadly.
exactly.
But
Yes,
yeah,
yeah.
it's been fun to see that development with him, um, and his struggles. And we'll see. Like I, one thing that Brick told him is like you need to talk to your family, you know. And I think he understands that because he really needs to get in some sort of connection with somebody that knows more than he does. And that's not us. We don't know anything about that lifestyle.
Mhm,
So I know that he's feeling a bit like an outsider when it comes to that. And by being a Dampier, he is an outsider even among his own people. So
mhm.
it's just kind of interesting. I'm looking forward to see more of that like conversation or more of that developing with his family and his race.
Exactly. Because there's been a couple times where, like, well, maybe you should find another Dhampir, but they're rare, so how would you find one?
Yeah, easier said than done. It would be difficult, but hopefully we can make it happen.
Mhm.
Side quest. Um, so from that, I do think that we kind of laid low for the majority of the time, right? Um,
Mhm.
on the ship, uh, until something more eventful happened, which was the ripples.
Yes, the ripple.
The that one thing that nobody can expect, and it affects everyone differently. It was so wild because last time I think we rippled and we saw the Fey realm, right?
Yes.
And this time during the ripple, we saw hell.
Mhm.
And that took everyone by surprise. For, I wanted to think about how did Brick feel? Because I see Brick as a hellish tiefling.
Mhm.
Um, it not because of his background or his personality, but because he he kind of feels like that's where he comes from or that's who he is, but he doesn't know. Um, so he's like like I feel, or some people have told him that he kind of looks like a demon, or he looks like he would be from hell, but just because he's a tiefling and he's horned and he has a tail doesn't mean that he's from hell. um,
Yeah.
but it's so many things about not knowing that makes him curious. And then so when he saw hell for him, it was like, first of all, he's like, have I been here before?
I mean,
And
that's a good question, to be honest. Um, like, if people, what the ripple is basically a very thin layer between different realms. Um, my world is created where magic can be very chaotic, which it hasn't happened yet with this party, but it can be chaotic. The ripple comes and goes, and basically everybody's been warned if you see a ripple, hold still and let it just pass through. And so there's different ripple effects. They experience the Fey realm and they experience the hell. And, you know, each person has their own, like you said, like what it affects them. Yes.
Yeah. And I think it affects Nyx the most because of who he is, like as being Fae. The when he saw the Feywild, I guess it was more of that mental struggle of like the things that happened in back home, right?
Hmm.
And but I think this time it was, I'm not sure if it was discomfort and we still have to talk to him. It was like the opposite. Like he saw, or he was brought to a world that almost feels completely opposite to his home world, right? Um,
Right.
and again, I'm not sure if that was it, or maybe it's just the ripple in itself that sent him into like a PTSD type of thing. Um, but that's a conversation we'll have to have with him at some point. Um, for Vorn, he also thought about the fucking lady in the moon, and he's like, have we been to hell together? And
Oh yeah.
who the fuck is this lady? You know?
I don't know.
I remember when you were like, you don't remember. Oh, that was heartbreaking.
Yes, that was in that dream.
Yeah. Um, but he's being haunted. He's trying to also do more research, and in the conversation he had with Celeste, she kind of made him promise that he was going to go to a church and ask and get more questions and get more knowledge, because he's being haunted by the fact that he doesn't know, and he is a knowledge thief. He needs to know, and the fact that he doesn't know is what's haunting him. The nightmares aren't the subject matter, because in most of the dreams he feels safe with her. So it's not, it's the fact that he doesn't know, and that's what's haunting him. But very interesting stuff. Anyway, so the ripple happened, and so was it a time and space type of thing that got us to our destination faster through the ripple? Or was it that we were stuck in the ripple longer than we thought?
All good questions.
Oh, damn.
I mean, I mean, in my head, some of you guys would probably experience ripples. Probably not the hell one too much, but it'd be more of the Fae. And it's like mere seconds, like maybe 5 seconds max, where you might even see people and all that stuff. But to be in hell, that's a whole different story.
Yeah. Yeah, because that seems strange, right? Like we've been told about
Mhm.
ripples before, and going between realms, and like I'm guessing that the Fey realm is more of a common thing because the Fae travel back and forth.
Mhm.
But hell, like you can't just knock on their door.
No. And the one thing is, you everybody witnessed something. Um, basically, there was like a whole conversation.
Yeah. Do you want to get into that? I think it's kind of important.
Mhm. So, Victor's book, um, her name is Lady Michelle Odell, and she manifested, in front, so everybody now knows what she looks like. Very dark skin, like golden hair. Her eyes are glowing red. She has like a gold outfit, and like kind of like a what kind of like a robe that's like white and has like red outline or something like that. And in front of everybody, she basically said to the captain, "We need to head there." And in front of everybody else, all these other people started manifesting. Another crew and another captain, which was a male captain. And everybody heard this conversation between both of them. Um, and in the conversation, basically, they were also in hell. And she kept pointing like, "We needed to go there. I need to get that item. If I don't get that item, if I can't make it, then the world will be no more." So
Yeah.
yeah, that was a very interesting scene for all of them.
Yeah. More questions now.
Mhm.
And then she doesn't remember any of it.
Nope, because when she goes back to her book self, she's like, "What? I was sleeping the whole time. I don't know what you're talking about."
Is that always common with her? Like, does she remember the last time she manifested for Victor or no?
No.
Interesting.
That's why she was more surprised when he said her name, because it was more of a teasing like, "Oh, I would tell you later."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then all of a sudden he knew, and it's like, the fuck?
Mhm. Yeah. So she's going through, I mean, mind you, it's a magical book. Um, and I believe in character, um, Victor has said, "Oh, I need to buy more books just in case this ever happens so I can transfer, quote unquote, the book's soul into another book."
Mm-hmm.
So technically, she was some kind of wizard in her past life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That kind of is trapped in one of those books. Maybe she was like
Hmm.
dying, and that's how she kept herself alive or some shit. It's interesting. It's a
Hmm.
lot. It's a lot of possibilities to unravel with the book.
Yes.
But yeah, that was it was crazy. It was traumatic. But at the end of it all, it got us to our destination.
Hmm. It
um,
did.
we have no idea how, and I guess nobody's really asking because it's like, hey, we're here faster than what we thought.
Hmm.
And so I guess it doesn't really matter. And the relief of not being inside the ripple anymore and stuff, it's just like, fuck it. There was more important things to worry about.
Yeah.
So we get to the island, and the island is the way that you described it, very dense, right?
Hmm.
And a lot of wildlife and such. There was, I don't remember or anything like that, but as we're docking or as we're coming in, there's no sign of civilization at all, is there?
Correct.
So we,
Because if you think about it, it's like animals run free. You see a
Mhm.
monkey here, monkeys, birds, and all that stuff.
Yeah. So we go in, um, we're making our way through, and how far in did we hike before we decided to make camp?
It would have been like okay, so I think I said you all arrive before noon. If not, that's canon in my head. So
Mhm.
you went from noontime to like when it started getting dark. So it could have started getting dark around 6 or 7 o'clock. So what, you've been hiking for, like, 6 hours or so? Um, but the
Yeah.
one thing is the captain was leading you guys. So and, there was nobody was, like, veering off the path, everybody was just following. Um, wherever she stepped, people stepped kinda thing, and ended up, at the mouth of the cave. Um, this island is very interesting, even though they didn't explore it more, um, but there would have been some bad shit happening, but luckily you had the captain there, and you guys made camp. So you went from, like, it's almost, if people were to ask questions, and this is definitely over the table, um, like how you got from A to B, um, it would have been a lot slower without the captain. That's a teaser.
Oh, I see. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because shit, you can probably hike more than 15 miles in 6 hours.
Mhm.
So, or more, depending on incline and decline, I guess. The so we could be very far from the ship,
Yeah.
and we could also have gotten very lost if we didn't know where we were going.
Mhm.
Um, but I guess it's a good thing that she apparently knew where she was going, and that's also it's curious that nobody was like, how do we know where we're going? We're just-
Yeah. I mean, anytime, like, anytime I do, like, almost kinda like fast forward scenes, people can stop and ask questions. But I think people were so into, like, the words I'm saying, so they're just, like, immersing themselves
yeah.
into it, which that's fine, that's cool. Um, but there was, like, a couple times I paused and I was like, "Okay, I'll continue," just waiting for those questions. I mean, anybody at any time could say, "Hey, can I just look at my surroundings?" "Yeah, let's roll a perception check." You
Yeah.
guys might have saw some shit,
I
but
think
everybody was focused.
we are also blindly following the captain for now,
Mhm, mhm.
so I think not a lot of people ask questions, but I'm sure that we're probably going to have questions. um but it's crazy because even our campsite and everything like that, we set up pretty close to the cave, right?
Yeah,
At the mouth of the cave, I think it was.
yeah, it was
And
near Mouth Cave.
so, but yeah, no questions were asked. We're just blindly following the captain. Um, but I think the big difference this time is that we didn't split up, you
Mhm,
know, like we did previously. And there were parts of our previous mission that it was just like us and them. And this time it didn't feel like that. So I think that that also helped. Um, but shit escalated anyway.
it did.
So we we're set to go into this cave. We're making camp, or we made camp. We split up shifts, and somebody ruins it. Third shift, the night was almost over. Vorin, aka moi, gets gets woken up, or at least he thinks he's awake. Gets woken up by the Moon Lady again, and she this time is just shouting, telling him to follow her, as she has in several other dreams. But this felt so realistic to him. She shook him awake, and he had to run after her. Nyx tried to hold him back. Surprisingly, slithery Vorin slipped right from his grasp and kept running. And you know what's funny? I was actually gonna roll stealth at that time because Vorin naturally would be hard to find if he didn't want to be found. Because it's what he does, right? So I think that if he felt if Nyx would have done anything more than what he did, he would probably try to stealthily get away and be hidden and try to keep following the mysterious moon lady in the shadows, which would have probably made it worse for the group, but it didn't matter anyway because of where he ended up.
Yeah.
It wasn't the moon lady. Do you want to tell us a little bit more now, Light?
Okay, so so as Vorin slash Brick slash M9 is going to the jungle, he sees the moonlight hitting, and the figure says stop. And as he stops, something grabs him and starts to smother him, aka a Venus flytrap. One of the big ones. Yeah, and he yelled out, "You betrayed me."
Yeah, he
Which
thought she
therefore
led him right into that trap.
Yeah. Which at this point, he's finally kind of awake, but being smothered to death. Eventually, the party does catch up. Magpie was the first one on the scene, trying to basically kill the plant. Everybody also, took their turns trying to take down the plant, making sure there's no other plants around. Eventually, freeze Warren as the Venus flytrap opens his mouth, kind of spitting him out, and he's just drenched in yucky gunk stuff.
I think he would have rather died.
I mean, he almost did because, between getting smothered and what was it? What was Euphemia?
It wasn't the thunder wave, was it?
Shatter.
Oh, shatter.
It was. It was a shatter. I think it was shatter. Yeah. I mean, we're going to shatter the person inside. And how many health points did you have left?
I was left at 6.
6. Yep. So.
Yeah.
Very lucky.
I was like one hit or one more strong smother effort from the plant to be killed. Again.
First was water, and then the smothering, who knows?
He's like, I just want to go back to the city.
But eventually, he got cleaned up. Celeste cleaned him up. He got healed by Minerva. Then the captain also basically said that those kind of plants causes illusions.
Right. Which, at that point, he realized it wasn't the moon lady. It was the plant that was causing the illusion of the lady in the moon, because he was feeling very betrayed. He never felt unsafe with any of the dreams before. And that time was like, I almost fucking died.
Yeah.
But it was interesting that it got cleared up pretty instantly because he would probably held on to that.
Oh yeah, no doubt. But the captain knows this place, so luckily she said that out loud. So basically, it's like almost warning other people, like if you see something, it might be an illusion.
Yeah, question it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So then from that point, we go back to camp. After everything was kind of taken care of, we go back to camp. We sleep for a couple extra hours,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm pretty sure like Vaughn just skipped his shift because now he needs rest.
Yeah, but the captain did say, "Go ahead and go
Yeah.
to sleep." She's gonna watch the rest.
So she watched the rest of the watching, and everybody got some rest. And then when they woke up, everybody was feeling completely refreshed.
Mm-hmm.
And in game I asked, like, wouldn't this be a short rest because it's only a couple of hours? But that was actually part of the mystery that we don't know why we're completely refreshed. And and that's really cool. That's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because it almost kind of seems like the captain knew that, you know, but none of us knew. And then at the end of the day, nobody questioned it either because I think we needed it. We woke up, we were feeling great. Voren made a note of it, like, okay, I was still kind of a little roughed up
Mm-hmm.
and completely got all of my HP back. Even I wouldn't say that, that's meta, but still.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so when we woke up, we undid camp and, we followed the yellow brick road
Yep, into the cave.
into the cave and grandmother's house. So we go into the cave. Take it from here.
Yeah, so basically the captain warned again to, don't take anything, any shiny, gold, silver, whatever. Just don't take any treasure. And to follow her, just like follow her steps. And they go in the cave. Um, and they're walking for a little while, because they eventually had to climb, and then their stairs appear, and then the first mouth of the cave, which it's like, glittery gems and everything. And of course, Magpie is trying to not touch anything the whole entire time. Um, and also, with was it no the I think on the I don't think it was in the way to go into the cave, but I think on the way back, Victor did cast detect magic. So um, eventually they went to a second part of the cave, where the gem was. So the captain grabbed it and basically let them all out. And Victor did kind of like a quick cast, which is part of his not backstory, but part of the wizard scribe. I think that's what he has. Can cast instantly, and there was just magic everywhere. It's like a light beam show if you think about it. He couldn't detect what kind because it's basically overlapping each other, so it's like almost overwhelming his senses kind of thing. But they do eventually make it out, and as they make it out, fireworks was heard, and as the captain turned around and saw that it was red fireworks, it signaled the red hand is on the island. So she told people to run, and they did.
And we did. And oh boy, we were hauling ass.
Mhm.
And as we're hauling ass, things get a little bit more serious. Like we weren't getting out without a bit of conflict. And we started noticing, well, before we noticed anything, we were shot at.
Yeah.
Some of us saw it coming, like those of us that are quicker on our feet.
Just say it's both rogues.
Team Rogue,
Avoided.
let's go. Team Rogue was like, nope. um, but it was close.
Mhm,
I don't know who these sharpshooters were and stuff like that, but every single person got shot at. Um,
mhm,
and we didn't see where these arrows were coming from, but Brick managed to just, stop and weave his as he was running. Um, so did Magpie, but everyone else got hit.
mhm. I would
And
say Glenn didn't get hit or Captain.
right,
The second half, the
the
boy
little
did get hurt.
the little boy, yeah, the second
Yeah.
time.
Mhm,
Um, and then it didn't end there. As we were running, people were running towards us,
mhm,
and I think Voren may have seen the first one,
mhm,
and he tried to rush Voren, and at that point he dodged, weaved, and stabbed the guy, or I would say at least like sliced him with his dagger,
mhm.
which sent him off with the momentum, and he stumbled upon himself way back there.
Yep.
And then there were more.
Yeah.
uh, they were coming from everywhere, trying to attack everyone. Um,
Mhm.
I think who I think we managed to get most of the runners, right? I don't think anybody got hit by the runners, or
Mm, no, actually, I don't think anybody got hit because they had the opportunity to attack too because they were getting ready to swing.
Mhm.
But a couple people uh, showed some of their prestige class, um, which Euphemia asked assistance from Laura, which Laura is a young girl that a ghost that follows her and asks for if she can summon her teddy, which this teddy bear basically manifests and run in front. I think 3 people because it was in her range. Protected Minerva, I think Victor, and I can't remember the third one, but basically, they had this floating teddy bear surrounding them when they were getting hit.
Mhm.
Um, and Minerva, um, she got assistance, so she asked for assistance from the dark side of the moon, creating um, her armor, which is like a natural silver, but it turned black as night. And she got to hit somebody with her wonderful mace.
Yeah, she did pretty great with the shield and
Mhm,
the maze. Um, but yeah, the armor thing caught me off guard. I was like, man, that must look badass.
mhm,
So that was pretty cool. Then the rest of the people defended themselves,
mhm,
um, until we were, able to run off.
mhm. Yeah,
But
eventually, oh, go ahead.
no,
What
no,
were you
yeah,
gonna
but I
say?
was gonna say, but not unscathed. Like,
Yeah, yeah, eventually, they saw the beach, and Glenn actually, like, went off, just before they hit the beach, and as I said the boomstick because I don't think they would know a rifle name
yeah.
just yet
Hmm.
because during that time. But it seemed that it was going to point at them, but he shot something behind them. Oh, before that, Victor did cast a spell, hit 2 of them, and also helped Celeste, which she also fired back. It looked like going to fire towards at him, but it actually ended up hitting another person that he missed. Uh, so that was a little thing too that happened between both of them. Because I think he wanted to help Celeste, probably kinda showing like, "Hey, I'm still your ally," you know?
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so eventually they did. Glenn shot something, and then the captain said continue to run as she, took her rapiers and, like, tossed them in in the jungle, and they returned to her, and they got on the rowboats, and now they're on the ship with yeah.
Yeah, and now we're on the ship.
Mhm. Well, I mean, if you think about like, imagine almost like hundreds on the shoreline and seeing this figure dressed all in white with a bloody hand
Mm-hmm.
in the middle of its chest. And basically, the captain basically said to him, "It's like time to get you home. It seems I'm going to basically fight the Red Hand." So
Yeah,
see
because
what
it's
happens from
not her
there.
first rodeo.
Mhm,
And I mean, and Vorn has historically heard of these people
mhm,
working at the docks, but seeing them like that was something else. So I mean, I don't know about everyone else, but like he's worried about the captain. Like
mhm.
she's just like, all right, we're gonna get you home, and I'm gonna fight these people. And it's like, wait a minute, you don't want to fight these people with us, like? But
I'm
she's
I
held her own, you know.
yeah. I mean, the one thing is, uh, even though that happened, at last, that will linger, and it will be up to everybody. It's like, do we do we just go home and let her do this thing, or do you guys wanna help her out?
Yeah, I
So
think
it's
that's a conversation that's still pending.
mm, yeah, yeah, because I like ended it on a cliffhanger.
As per usual.
Yes. Yes, I do.
So yeah, so from that point, I think that was pretty much it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that was it. They're
Man.
just, you guys are just banged up a little bit.
Yeah, we're gonna have to take a couple of days to chill and relax after that. But now we still have to figure out what we're gonna do. We have to have that follow-up conversation. We have
Mhm,
to, you know, figure out if we're going back to Felu or and what we're even gonna do when we get there. Everybody
mhm,
seems like they have something they need to take care of. Um, but we're meant to stay together, you know?
mhm.
So we'll see. It's gonna be interesting stuff.
Yes.
Well, I for one am really enjoying the campaign, Miss Light.
I'm
And
glad.
yeah, it's been very fun. I think everybody else has been enjoying it as well, but I won't speak for them. Maybe they don't like you. No, I'm kidding.
Wow.
No, it's been really fun. So if you guys want to get caught up again, we have all of the recap episodes that we try to compress to about an hour. Um, instead of you having to watch or catch up with like a 4.5 or like 4 hour episode, it's a little easier to catch up. And then you can catch us live on Sunday where you could see the campaign in real time. So yeah, is that pretty much it? Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think that's it. We'll just have to see what happens next Sunday.
We'll have to see. Yeah. It's gonna be crazy. I'm going to be in Tennessee for a wedding, but I will still be streaming. I have to figure out how to get my layouts and stuff on my laptop, and I'll still be streaming the campaign. Um, and then I'll be back in time for the next Sunday. So it won't be different then. But yeah. Anyway, thank you guys
Sounds
for
good.
hanging out. Thank you, Light, for hanging out and working on the recap. And we'll
Of
see you next
course.
time. Like I said,
Adios.
6:30 EST for our live sessions, and on
Why do you
Mondays we do our recap.
why do you say EST?
EST.
Yes. All right. We'll see you then.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.